Hello everybody, hei kaikille, hei poer alla. A very warm welcome to Vantaa Art Museum Artsi and the Reciprocities exhibition. I'm Christine Langinauer, I work here as exhibition curator, and I'm here today with Artist Sepideh Rahaa. And today we're going to talk about her art practice, her artwork, and how it's like to live in Vantaa. The Reciprocities exhibition, where we are now, deals with questions such as how does the power relationships and systems in society define different human groups or individuals according to how well they sit in prevailing norms. And it asks questions such as who do we depend on, who is the one making decisions, and how do they affect our lives. And today, with Sepideh, we're going to talk more about these questions in regarding to her work. Sepideh Rahaa is an artist, a researcher, and an educator. She's currently pursuing her doctoral thesis in Aalto University in contemporary art. She works a lot with social norms, with power relationships, with everyday resistance, and she works with these questions through, for example, storytelling, womanhood, and she holds an MBA in painting and visual arts and an MA in art and research from the Shahid University. Thank you, Ferran. And another MA from Aalto University in Helsinki in contemporary art. So Sepideh, thank you very much for coming here today.
Thank you so much for having me here and my work in the exhibition.
Sepideh, your work deals a lot with themes such as power structures, social norms, everyday resistance, and feminist politics. How do you work with these themes and why?
This is a very important question and very at the core of actually my practice. I can say that, maybe I can say since childhood at our dining table, my parents always would talk about social justice and also the issues in their day-to-day working life. That was a place where we would gather, all of us, and then we would listen to our parents when they would talk about injustice or something bad happened in their working place. So it remained with me since my childhood, and then when I became an adult, it became more interesting, particularly when I went to university and I was very active socially and politically at university, particularly in my bachelor degree. And it was always important for me how normatives in society and also gender issues, discrimination regarding gender, or how gender helps some people to get position in society back home or everywhere else became very important for me. It became highlighted, both as a person and also as an emerging artist back then. But I can say that none of us are free from political matters and norms in societies, but the fact is that some people are affected lesser and some people are affected more in their day-to-day life. But I can say, why do I do what I do? Is because art can never be for me a neutral space, but it is a space for provocation. It's a space for critical and radical thinking, that I can radically think and examine different things. And also, at best, it has been a place for provoking certain notions and maybe activating thinking, not only for me, but also for the audience who were engaged with my practice. I can also say that social justice is at the core of my practice, and it's really important for me, because none of us, as I said, are free from all of these circumstances and issues. And I want to say that for me, making art is never about making mere aesthetics to create an object, but rather it is about interacting with others, interacting with the audience, and at best maybe succeed in creating some sort of a dialogue. And also I want to say regarding to the norms, some norms, as we may know, affect people in a way that they feel happier and liberated in their life. And for many others, norms are not really a place for feeling liberated, but create certain resistance. So resistance and change making is really important also in my practice.
Let's now talk more about these things regarding the exhibition and the work you have here in the exhibition. We're actually sitting in front of Sepideh Rahaa's work here. It's called A Cube Inside a Cube, Nowhere Better Than This Place. How are the themes that you just talked about reflected in this work? Would you talk more about that?
Yes, maybe I can say also the title in Farsi. مکعبی درون مکعب هیچ کجا بهتر از اینجا is the title, and then that was the translation in English, and we have also in Finnish, I guess. Maybe I can say, taking from what I said earlier, and then if I can continue that, for me, art is a very relatively safe space, and issues and matters that I do not discuss or share with everybody in my circle, I feel relatively safe to bring up in my artistic practice and in the art spaces. But I want to say that the title also refers to utopian idea of a place which everything works perfectly, but it's very sarcastic for me because I don't believe there is even one place in this world that everything works very perfectly. But for some people there are such places, but not for me personally. So in this safe space that I feel in this, of course, a cube, inside this cube, which is the museum, this white cube of the gallery of a museum, I created a cube that can be interpreted in different ways. Somebody can see when I perform, because this is not the final piece that I have. Unfortunately, because of COVID, we will see if I can do the performance. I will be located inside this cube, and I will examine these power structures in day-to-day life that I have had in the last 10 years in this society. And also I back and forth go back to my earlier experiences back home in Iran. And what does it mean for me to be a woman? What does it mean to cross the boundaries? What boundaries exist for one? We are billions of people on this planet, and everybody has a different way of living, different way of being. And none of us, we have similar grounds to relate to, human pain, human happiness, and this and that, but also we have so much differences, culturally understanding human relation in a different way. So I would examine these things, but also art space is an imaginary, it is a place that can activate imagination. At the same time, it doesn't mean that somebody is dreaming within this cube, with me, and try to use different languages, but at the same time, this imaginary place can be very much of a reality for many others whom I don't know, for myself. So at the same time that it can be perceived very disconnecting for some individuals, it can be very much relatable for others. So I hope that I can do performance, and I can, because performance art also is a place for me that I can directly connect with the individuals who are in the space, and we can somehow connect.
There were many details in this work that I find very, they tell a lot also. So could you tell us more about what they symbolize and what they are?
Yes, I think at the center, in the middle, there are Farsi words and combination of words. The one in the top is a sentence which says resist, in Farsi, مقاومت کن. And then in the bottom it says hiç, which is nothing, but it doesn't mean nothing because it's in relation to this word that it says hiç کجا, nowhere. Basically the hiç is in relation to the place. Hiç کجا بهتر از اینجا, nowhere better than this place. And then this place is again repeated in the left corner. But then there are other elements such as a dried pomegranate tree and multiple dried pomegranates that I have done since 2017. This has been dried and preserved. And the pomegranate in Persian literature means so many metaphoric meaning. I usually use so many different metaphors in my works. And this means like an eternal life, prosperity, bringing prosperity to the life, abandon, it's a meaning of life in our culture, in a literally way. And then the pomegranate tree has been cultivated by a friend of mine, but unfortunately it became dry because I traveled back home, and when I returned, it was dry. And there is this little amount of sound from Caspian seashore where I live, that I brought it as a souvenir for myself, that just resembles for me home. When I feel this sense of loss, I just return to it, but I use it in my work very rarely. This is the second time that I'm using it. Because this cube also, this concept also for me resembles the meaning of home. What does it mean to search for home? It is in relation to immigration, but also anybody. I mean, one who is from a certain location can feel lack of belongingness in that space. It's not only a matter of moving from a location to another. For me personally, it's matter like how we find our home. A home for somebody can be a person. It can be a place. It can be setting of different loved ones. So that's it. I hope that I explained it well.
I think you did. Yes, this quest for home is something I think everybody can relate to in some way. And exactly, home can be a place, but it can also be a state of emotion or a person, or maybe persons also. But if we move out of this cube and the cube we are in, the museum outside, you have had a home here in Finland for almost a decade now, and you're living in Vantaa for several reasons, since several years. Actually quite near to where we are sitting now in Myyrmäki. What does Vantaa mean to you, and being a Vantaalainen?
I definitely am now Vantaalainen. Well, this is a very good question. I can say that this is the first time after living here more than half time that I lived in Finland. Over 6 years I have been living in Vantaa. And I want to say maybe more radically that my family is located, majority of them in Vantaa, and they were the one who welcomed me truly into Finland. Actually, this is why that I feel very much home in Vantaa. I found this place of peacefulness and comfort, let's say. I feel comfortable in Vantaa. It's a place that I come to rest after a full daily work. So yeah, I think for me it was very important that I was introduced to Finnish culture through my family, Finnish family in Vantaa. So it is a very important place for me.
Sounds really lovely that you have found this loving home here in Vantaa. And as living here in Vantaa, what does Vantaa Art Museum Artsi mean to you?
To tell the truth, I have been waiting for long to receive an invitation to come and actively present my work, because, as I said, this is my hometown, and I wanted always culturally and artistically to contribute to everyday culture in this city. So Artsi means very good place for me, because it's this, aside from one other museum, Pori Art Museum, that I have very, very minor piece in there. This is my first official museum exhibition after almost nearly 10 years in Finland, and you can imagine what does it mean to be in a very 10 minutes neighborhood of this museum and also be able to artistically engage with the museum. It means a lot to me, actually. Thank you for having me here and my work. I hope that my work dedication can bring also something to Artsi.
I think it definitely already has. And I'm really happy that you wanted to be part of this exhibition, that we are collaborating. And actually we're collaborating with Sepideh also in the future. We are planning the next project as we speak.
That's indeed a pleasure.
And I'm really happy that you had time to come here and sit with us and talk a little bit. Thank you for that. And we wish you all a very good Vantaan päivä from Artsi with this video, and hope that you have the chance to visit this exhibition. It will be up here until the end of May, and hopefully we will open soon for the public. Thank you.
Hyvää Vantaan päivää kaikille. Toivottavasti.